Good afternoon, everyone. Konnichiwa. Diversity is a word we hear oftentimes, but how often do we reflect on its true meaning? Does we already believe in this word, to believe that this word can truly help us to find differences surround us? Please, let me tell you my story where I journey in this world. I cross the borders, cross the regions, and encounter different cultures. So please, let me share my story first. My name is Rayhan Maulana Ryzan. I was born in cities called Medan in North Sumatra Island, Indonesia. I came here in Japan since 2019, when initially that time I took my bachelor degree. And currently, now I'm studying at TEDxRikkyoU University, majoring social design studies. Indonesia, my home country, is a country like no other. It's a vast country with 5,200 kilometers, 70,000 islands, 275 million people, with 300 ethnic groups and over 200 distinct languages. This is the country that having so much diversity. As because of that, my founding fathers, our founding fathers, recognize this diversity as Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, or unity in diversity, as our national motto. So our founding fathers want us to not overcome these problems. This is not problems. This is something that we must celebrate, that we must embrace as a big nation, as a big country. Like I said before, I was born in Medan, one of the cities in North Sumatra. At that time, by 2 years old, my parents said to me that suddenly we must go to another region called Aceh region, and the city called Tapak Tuan. And remember, the diversity in Indonesia is so prominent. Even you just drive by car for neighborhood regions, it's only been different cultures, norms, local languages. It's completely different. So at this time, I didn't know anything about Aceh regions. At that time, I remember very vividly that Tapak Tuan is very great cities, which is located in the coastal areas. Every afternoon, I went into my neighborhood friends to play soccer in the beach near there. And also every Saturday, I went into the hill with my parents and listening to my father stories about one of the dragon statue mythical origins in there. It was a very peaceful time, and I was very, very happy. But after spending just 2 years in there, ultimately my mother told me that we must go back to Medan again because our job is already finishing here. So we got back to Medan, and this time, because of the differences that already been very prominent in Indonesia, just 4 years old kids entering the kindergarten in Medan after back to their homeland after spending 2 years in Tapak Tuan, I already encountered many differences. The prominent one is regarding the topics of the kids at that time. So I remember I cannot understand what they're saying about playing PlayStation, discussing about the comic characters, etc. I didn't know it. I just didn't aware of it because I live in the coastal areas. Suddenly, in the first month of it, I can't speak with them. I can't speak completely with them. And at that time, I remember one of my friends in that school talked in front of the class, saying the questions to all of the students there, there's somebody who could play soccer because I want to play soccer. At that time, I was very, very happy because for the first time, I can have a same common ground with them, which is I can play soccer with them, and then I can communicate with them, I can interact with them, and then can I create a peacefully, meaningfully connections with them. So after I already been playing with my friend, my father and my mother come with me again and said, okay, unfortunately we must move again to another regions. And I said, which one? He said, Java Island. And I was shocked at the time. Because my father not coming from there, my mother is not coming from there, and there's no my relatives coming from that Java Island. And I have no friends, and I have no clue where is the Java Island. I just know that Java Island is one of the main ones, the big island in Indonesia. And at the time, yes, I have so much obstacles. In the first week, I just went into the one little bookstore, and I said into one of the staff in there, I just said, I'm sorry, I want to buy a comic in here. And he just shocked at the time. He said, hey, you can't speak like that. And after that, he held my hand. Please, repeat it one more time. This time, please be more polite. And after that, I just very confused. What does he means? I already been very polite at the time. I think like that. And this kind of response happening to me frequently. Because it's different languages, I have different ways of speaking as North Sumatra Island people. So at that time it's very desperate time for me. And after 2 months, I try to localize myself and try to speak and try to behave like Surabayan people. In the 3rd month that I enter the elementary school there, I can truly understand what is the differences between me and them and try to adapt their cultures and their norms. And after again, I already been so comfortable with my life in Surabaya, my parents come to me again and said, okay, we must back again to Medan because our work in here is already finished again. So this is the 2nd time we back to Medan. And the 2nd time is more awkward than before because as North Sumatra Island people, I can't speak like North Sumatra Island people again. I do not have the same dialects again. I cannot understand why they behave like that, my friends, at that time when I get back the 2nd time to Medan. So it's very awkward. It's very awkward. And after spending 1-2 months, I already been kind of adapt with them. And because of these differences that happened to me and all this experience, I think maybe if I can go to other regions, I can have encountered another experience, another knowledge for me. So at that time, I think that maybe I can move to South Tangerang to the boarding high school in there. When I go to South Tangerang and joined the boarding high school, I remember vividly when the first time I entered the dorm of my boarding school, I can hear so many different languages, so many different ways to speak. And that time, 1 month, the first month of our period to enter that school, all is discussing about the dispute regarding about how we can speak, what is the normal things that we must do in here, what is considered to be peaceful or not, how to speak to your friends, etc. And this is very difficult times because I not live with just Japanese people. I also live with North Sumatran, South Sumatran, Maluku, Papua, Sulawesi, the other part of Java regions. It's very hard. But at the time, I just think, okay, I can encounter this. And after like 4 months, and after I just graduate from there, I took 2 lessons. I took 2 important lessons. That first, if you not have the openness in your heart and in your mind, and you not want to trying to adapt another cultures, another people behaviors, and you not want to accept them as also your cultures, it's very hard for you to connecting meaningfully to other peoples. And at that time I think, okay, this is very good lesson. So maybe I can jump up to another countries to learn more. And at that time, I took the decision to move to Tokyo. And this time, I think that time, I've prepared more. So 1 month before I went to Japan, I watched many YouTube videos regarding how the Japanese people communicate, speaking, behavior norms, etc. I also read a lot of books about sociocultural of Japanese people, history of Japan, some kind of it. I read a lot. And after I arrived in Tokyo, and I can still remember the first month of me as a newcomer in these cities. In the first period of orientations, I met with one Japanese man, and I asking about the personal questions with him. That time, I just asking, what is your name? Where do you live? Do you live near here? And what do you do after this? Just that 4 questions. And I just didn't know that that person is feel my questions is intimidate him. And after that, he just ran away. And after a few hours, I just trying to get him, but he not want to meet me. In Indonesia, it's very normal to ask that questions, especially if you want to getting more connections to other people for the first impressions. But that time is not work for me. But on the same time, I just can feel what it means by unity in diversity. It makes a lot of sense to me. And as we grow, I believe we believe in what we consider to what is wrong thing to do, what's the bad thing to do. So, and I can understand again how much it's very difficult for us as individuals that live in different regions, in different countries, that already having individuals' cultures, norm, behavior, to change with other people's cultures, with other norms, with other local ways of speaking. I know it's very hard, but in the context, if you moving to other regions, if you moving to other nations, that is the requirement for you to live peacefully and to having a very good full connections to other people live in other area. At that time, because of this experience, I felt I have one more questions that is my North Sumatran accent, my North Sumatran behavior, norms and values is better than the Japanese people or Japanese people in Java Island, or is more good than the other nations' country values or behavior and norms? Ultimately, the answer is no. Because of what? Because of the norms and the cultures that we already have in different regions and different nations is a result of social acceptance. And it creates the unique cultures, unique behavior that we can talk to each other, we can discuss to each other. After that, we can discuss it and we can connecting meaningfully. That's why I think unity in diversity is challenge us to learn, to accept, and to be connected. Of course, this may raise another questions in your mind that how we can overcome these challenges. First, we can and must contextualize our cultures, norms, and values first. And after that, put it in your treasure box. So put it in your cultures in your treasure box. Put it. And after that, you must know that this is your treasure box and the other people have theirs. And after that, because of time, you encounter some different languages, norms, and behavior. Of course, we may change our treasure box. And if you feel that you can change another culture's people behavior, ultimately, you can't change. And if you want to change it, it will make you cannot 100% cannot having a good connections with others. And if you think, oh, I got influence, I get powers in here, and I get ideas to change other people's cultures to the better of them, for the better of them. If you think like that, yes, you can change, but you can't change it directly because it will hinder the connection of meaningfulness of the people to you and to you to other people. That's why I think diversity does not weaken us. It strengthens us. And this world, which have so much diversity, we not have any choice to not accept, to not adopt, and truly believe that other people's cultures is theirs and we can connect with them and we learn from them. So unity in diversity is just not our founding fathers' motto, just not Indonesian motto, is our motto as the human beings that live in this world. Unity in diversity is way of life. So let's hold this firmly, and together we make this world where everyone is seen, valued, and truly belongs. Thank you so much.